Hi, today I'm sharing ideas with Sunny Studios Summer 2026 release. And up first, I have our brand new Sweet as Can Be stamps. It comes with the little honey jar here, a sunflower and leaf, 4 little honeybees, the hexagon here that coordinates with our previously released Frilly Frames hexagon dies, and the beehive here, a lemon, and the little honey stir. I can't remember what that thing's called. And a bunch of punny greetings and some cute little trails. So for my first card here, I paired the honeybee stamps with the little tree branch die that we have. For the outside here, I used our Frilly Frames eyelet lace die. I just had some left over from another card and decided to put it to use, like the negative space, and use the little Brilliant banner. I believe that's 2 die, and the gingham here from our Gingham Jewel Tones paper pack. Yeah, and just inked up the background with some I believe Salty Ocean with a really light hand on a big fluffy brush. Next up, I have a clean and simple card here using the sunflowers with the leaves and the little, I stitched a little row of the stem using a paper piercer. And then I also used some masking material to mask off the center so that I could ink it with some Distress ink and do a blend there. And then I used a little trail with the 2 bumblebees and the sentiment, "Be happy." And then I just framed it here with some black cardstock to just really make it pop and stand out. It felt a little plain before I trimmed it down and added the black. For this card, this is our Frilly Frames hexagon dies, and I used that image here. It does come with a die in the die set for it, so you can, what I did is I created a little template after cutting this out in my die cutting machine. I created a little template for this, and I could just pop each one of these into the template to stamp it over and over again. It made it real quick and fast, and it was in perfect placement every time. I paired it with the honey jar and the this little dipper, I think it's called, and the sentiment and a little trail. Kept it really simple, but oh, and then the pattern paper here in the background, I think is from our Striped Silly paper pack. Up here, I did the same thing, but this time rather than putting the pieces back into the die, I just kept them, I cut it out a couple different times, so I had plenty of pieces to work with, and stamped them in a rainbow pattern. While I still had everything set up for this card, I knew I was going to do a couple cards with the hexagon. For the pattern, or for the sentiment here, we have our color word die with the Color Me Happy stamps, and then just the little bees with the trail for the rest of the card. And then buzzing by to say happy birthday. Our happy birthday is from our big bold greeting stamps, and the background here is our Background Basics 2 stamp, and just staggered the sunflowers from the set with the little bumblebees, and this greeting is also from the new set, The Sweet as Can Be. And last up, I had some more of these left over from the previous card I made, and I added, just all the different elements from the set. Added some gingham paper here, again from our Gingham Jewel Tones paper pack, and this background here uses our dotted diamond landscape die, and the little greeting was stamped on a pennant from our notebook. I think it's Photo Corners dies, and just went with a purple and kind of a yellow, like I think that's the complementary color scheme. They're across from each other on the color wheel. For our next set, we have our afternoon tea stamps. This set does have a Mother's Day greeting, which I know is coming up quickly. But it has so many great greetings for everyday use. You can say, hope your day is tea-rific, sip hip hooray, cheers to another year, you're my cup of tea, let's catch up over tea. So it's not limited to Mother's Day. I think you'll see a lot of cards that make it good all year round. These little flowers can be used to accent your table of teacup and teapot. However, it also was designed to look really cute on the top of the teacup. There's a little spoon here. Of course, the nice big Mother's Day greeting, a saucer, and the little tea bag going in 2 different directions. I have a bunch of different polka dots and half polka dots that you can arrange to create like an overall pattern for the teacup and teapot to make a polka dot pattern in the background. And then there's this little layering flower here that we have another one of these layering flowers with our Everything's Rosy stamps. This flower is going the opposite direction, so you could pair those 2 together. And then a little heart that you might stamp on the tea bag. Oh, and sugar cube. So for these cards, I have Happy Mother's Day card with a slimline, and for this one I did use the flowers on top of the teacups, colored them, alternating colors with the flowers, and alternated the teacups. I decided to flip the there's a teacup going both directions, so with different style. I decided to use the handle on this one going the opposite way to leave lots of room for my Mother's Day greeting there. And then for the background here, I used our Slimline scallop frame die. Comes with the stitch here. So, and then I just added a little slim piece of pink cardstock between the 2 dies. And that was it. The card used, I think, only 2 products. Next up, I have a card that mixes both the Sweet as Can Be set with the new afternoon tea. So I used the honey jar here, the lemon, the honey dipper, and the bumblebees, all from the Sweet as Can Be. And then all the other elements come from the afternoon tea set. I added glitter, little stickles glitter onto my sugar cubes to make them look sparkly like sugar cubes. And added the little heart to my tea bag coming out. The greeting is from the new afternoon tea set. I just split it between the 2. And then I used our stitched rectangle dies here to frame it, and mitered the corners on some paper. I believe this is from our Spring Fever paper pack. Might be Spring Fling, but I think Spring Fever. Oh, and then I just added the little polka dot print here with a white gel pen to kind of dress it up. Next up, we have Let's Catch Up Over Tea. This time I did pink cups, and I used the little flower, the layering flower, to decorate a pattern on my teapot, and added a couple extras down here. For the background, I used our Dapper Diamonds, that's our embossing folder. What's this one called? Frilly Frames, is it lattice dies? And I die cut the outer die, just running it through like normal, but for the interior die, I ran it through separately with an embossing mat so that it would emboss rather than die cut. And then for the background here, I used a pattern paper, also from our Spring Fever paper pack. It's hard to tell, but it's like a lavender floral print. And then the little pink gingham here is from our Gingham Pastels. And the strip, we have our Slimline pennant dies that has a pennant on one end. It's a real long, skinny die, but it's so great because it can go across the whole A2 card along the bottom or here and just run off the edge. And I use it all the time because it's just a great stitched strip. And then I added the little scallop here with our Slimline basic border dies. And again, I added some sparkle for my little cubes of sugar here. For my next card, I took my scissors and like clipped in on each of these cups and just like kind of cut along the edge. And then when I glued them down, you can't even tell where I really cut it out. But it allowed me to stack the cards or the cups inside of each other and make it look more realistic by having the bottoms disappear into the other cup. I had, from this very first card, I accidentally had it go kind of wonky on when I ran it through my die cutting machine, and it cut off part of the scallop. So I had this piece left over. There was some parts that were still good. So I just reused it and had it kind of bleed off my edge. I hate having things go to waste. So this whole day of cards is pretty scallop heavy, but I wanted to use up what I had. So the background here is also from our Spring Fever paper pack. And then I just colored my cards in rainbow, and then I chose the alternating cups so that the handles would be going every other direction. Added a little spoon, simple greeting. It still felt a little simple, so I added just thin strips of cardstock here that I attached with a glue pin. And then here we use the Dapper Diamonds. This time I trimmed off a little bit of each the embossed panel. I trimmed it off to add some pink stripe here from our Dots and Stripes Pastels paper pack underneath on top and bottom. I put little thin strips. Great way to use up those scraps when you have a paper panel you trim down. You always have like a little 1/2 inch or something left over. So I always save those so that I can reuse them. I also, when I was coloring this card, I had all these cups stamped and ready to color, and I accidentally grabbed the wrong one to color green. And I was like, oh man, because I didn't want two handles going the same way. So I was like, how am I ever going to use that green cup? But I actually think it turned out okay with, it's not the first color I would think of to color a teacup, but with all the other colors. And then I added, while I had been stamping a bunch of these, I just stamped them in a bunch of different colors while it was already set up in my MISTI. And so I had some left over to put in the little diamonds, and I love how it turned out. My last card uses the polka dot image with, the little 1/2, 3/4, and full polka dot, and you can just stamp them before you color them. And the lemons and the little sugar cubes here. Sip Parade to Another Year from the set. So all the elements pretty much come from the set except for the background here, which is our Frilly Frames polka dot die. It has an interior polka dot print, but you can use it without the interior portion as well. And it's one of my go-to favorites. Next up, we have our Bundle of Joy stamps, and I can't tell you how much I love this set. I know not everybody has somebody expecting a baby right now, but just a great overall baby set to have on hand for when you do have family members or friends or niece, nephew having a baby. I love that it comes with the 4 little outfits here, or onesie and 3 outfits. It has little socks, a bib, a hat. The bib is so cute. The bottle, the little binky, comes with 4 babies, a hanger, 2 clothespins, mostly just, you only need 1, but I wanted to include an extra because little stamps can get lost. Bunch of just little words that I tried to fit in that you can create different phrases for. And then really cute baby buggy and the stork. Anyway, I had so much fun with this set. Up first is little baby clothes hanging on the hangers. This is the card for that first card that I shared with our Sweet as Can Be. Cut out this frame, and I had that left over outside. For the background here, I ink blended all of the colors to have like the whole rainbow to pick up the colors in the clothes. Used our Brilliant Banner 1 dies here. Couldn't resist the urge to add all the little accessories in between. And then I had this card pretty much done, but I didn't have this pink frame, and it just felt a little like flat and missing something, like a punch or something to like keep it grounded. It just felt like clothes floating out there. So I went back and added our stitched rectangle dies, and they cut just the outside with the stitching, but to create the frame, I just took my little Fiskars paper trimmer and cut a window out of it so that I could use it to frame the clothes after the fact. And then I just trimmed it with my scissors and slipped it in. If I had, of course, done this from the very beginning, you could have just put all this over the border and it would have looked a little nicer over here. Next up is a baby sleeping in the moon. Just love this little cute bottom there. We don't have a big moon die, but I was able to just use our stitched circle. I believe these are our stitched circle large dies, and I used one size for the overall moon and then another smaller size to cut out a section from the moon. And then I just used the little stars from our basic, I believe it's our basic mini shape 2 dies, I believe. The little small dies exclusive to our shop. And then for the clouds here, I used the clouds from the baby elephant stamps, and then a little Brilliant Banner 2 die here saying Sweet Baby Boy. And then I just used a gel pen here to add some little stars in the distance and a little trail for the star. And then what else? Oh, for the background, I inked it up first with Mermaid Lagoon? And then just got darker and darker with the prize ribbon and the chip sapphire as I worked my way out so that kind of the glowing moon, it's lighter in the center. Next up, we have Hello, Little Bundle of Joy. For this one, again, I used the stitch rectangle to frame my scene. Our gingham pastels here for the background. Used the stitch portion of the die set from the Fluffy Cloud dies. And then I just lined up the babies here with their bottles and Binky. This is the same baby, obviously, but one in the carriage. And then, yeah, that's everything. I really liked how this turned out with the color scheme. Next up is the adorable little stork with the baby buggy. I paired a bunch of different words from different sets. Oops, sorry. Got to make sure that this is right. I paired a bunch of different sets from that I link on the blog. I can't remember. Like I used the word congratulations, I believe, from our Inside Greetings congrats, but I can't remember where the words on your came from, but I linked them on the blog. This one here is our Radiating Circle dies, and I cut out the center using one of our stitch circle dies so that it could just be a frame to kind of frame around my scene. And then for the background here, I used our Fluffy Cloud border dies. I cut it out of masking material or stencil material so I could just stencil them. And then down here on the bottom, we have a border from, I believe, our ribbon and lace border dies. Next up is a cute little baby boy card. I repeated stamping the little onesie in different colors with, with the bib and bear hat. And then added, this time, the Fluffy Cloud dies here with the, so the dies come with both a version that just does the stitching and does the die cutting with the stitching. So you have both options in that set. And then for the grass here, I used our Slimline Nature border dies. And then for the little posts here, these are actually posts from our, for the birdhouse for a bird's life stamps. And I just repurposed it to be for the clothesline. And then I just poked little holes before attaching this panel. So this panel to my card, I poked little holes to run embossing, not embossing, embroidery thread, like DMC embroidery thread through the holes to hide behind the post. And then I just taped the backs of the thread onto the back of my card and kind of glued it in place with these clothes and clothespins. Oh, one more thing, sorry. The Welcome to the World little one, that comes from our Inside Greetings Congrats set. And the two little birds are from our Love Bird stamps. And the little tufts of grass are from the Chicky Baby, a little Easter set that has the tufts of grass in three different patterns, I believe, but I just kind of randomly stamped in the grass. Next up is Welcome Sweet Little Baby, and I have here, framing my scene, the Mini Mat and Tag 2, I believe. And then the little stitch rectangle here, cut out of some pattern paper from the Dots and Stripes pastels. And then I had a bunch of those, you know, those little 1/2-inch scraps and such when you cut off the, you know, trim down a panel. I had all of these left over that I used the die, little square die from the Basic Mini Shape 1 set that I just cut out of the leftover scraps to create like this baby quilt around the outside. And I think that's it. Oh, and then this little butterfly here is from the, I believe, Spring Scenes. And then the little trail is from the new Sweet as Can Be. Next up is a cute little baby card that's sort of rainbow. I used for the background here the staggered circle dies. They each have the little stitched openings, and then I backed the openings with pattern paper from our gingham pastel paper pack, and maybe a couple prints from our classic gingham. I can't remember. I just used scraps that I had in my pack, so I can't remember exactly which sets they're from. This little button here is from the Woolen Mitten die. It's one of my favorites because it can just create this super flat button, 3D button that can go through the mail. It has two separate dies that stack the outer ring and the bottom, so they look pretty realistic when you layer them together. And then Welcome Baby. The word baby is spelled out using our Sydney alphabet dies. And the word welcome, I believe, comes from our baby elephant set. And then here we have our Spring Sunburst pattern with the little hearts, another strip left over from cutting down a panel. Yeah, and that's it. Next up, we have our Monkey Business stamps. For this set, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 monkeys. This little guy is done to be separate, so you can put his body under the leaves and his head and shoulders above, so it looks like he's really hanging over the vine. And there's this cute little banana, so I have a card that will show you all the different ways they can hang on the banana. And then a bunch of punny sentiments down here. We also have a new Jungle Vines die set, and this is so much fun. Let me see if I can pull out an example. So here's an example of the like tree branch and the vine. Recently went to the, I'm going to say this wrong, I'm sure, but the Daintree Rainforest in Australia, and I actually got to see this kind of vine and branch thing in real life. It was so much fun because I had just finished designing this set, and then I got to see vines wrapping around trees. And anyway, but it's designed to kind of go in and out and weave and look like a really realistic branch. And then you have all different kinds of leaves you can put on it. I think there are leaves in 2 different sizes if you want to do this kind of leaf. Or there's also this leaf here that comes, I think there's 2 different styles here. They look sort of similar, but 2 different styles, and these are different size than our our summer greenery dies. So you, they're slightly smaller, I believe. So you can mix and match them with that set if you have that set. But and then there's also a number. I think there's like 3 leaves that are like in this size range. Excuse me. So there's all different options that you can mix and match, as well as this die here that is just a really fun vine, leafy vine. So I will share ideas with that. Here, let me go to that first. So I did, die cut this out of a lighter green pattern paper, and then I inked up one side of each leaf and repeated it for my background. Creates just a really nice texture, and then mounted it on a different color of green so that it would stand out. Added the little monkeys hanging from the different vines. And thanks for going above and beyond. The word thanks is from our Big Bold Greetings, and for going above and beyond was taken from our Words of Gratitude set. Here we have both these greetings come from our Big Bold Greetings, so the happy birthday also does. All of the vines this time come from our Tropical Scenes dies. So I flipped one kind of upside down just to, because it has all these vines hanging, and I didn't want it to be like hanging from nowhere in the middle of my card. So I did the impossible and hung it upside down, and I know you couldn't really have it that way, but hopefully, like MC Escher, it kind of tricks the mind here. Out of the little bundles of bananas, and tucked a little banana in my greeting, and just tucked all the different monkeys. Here's the one hanging from that vine there with his arms wrapped around it. Here's one actually with the new jungle vines all built out with a bunch of the different plant life and what's called leaves. And then for the greeting here, the punny greeting from the monkey business, I stamped it inside of the little frame. I believe this is from our icing rectangle, but it could be from our loopy rectangle. I link it in the blog. And then when I was done, I just felt like it was missing a little something, so I took my pink Copic marker and added a little stippling in the background. For this card, it also uses the tropical scenes here in the background with my little deserted island here with the palm trees from the set. I added another palm tree here from our Sending Sunshine stamps. Inked a little sun here going down in the background, and then masked off the water and the sky here. I just inked around the sun with tumbled glass, I believe, and then added some peacock feathers here for my ocean. The tropical scene set has these little waves here that you can kind of ripples that you can stamp around the island. And then I used the Bananas About You from the new Monkey Business set, and added some little red hearts here from our Basic Mini Shape 2 dies. Here's Hope Your Birthday is Simply the Best. Use the new little leaves here and sandwich them around the frame here. That is our comic strip speech bubble dies. And then just hung the little monkeys off of the different parts of the frame. It's the first card I actually created for this release, and I really, still one of my favorites. Here, last but not least, for the monkey business, we have the little adorable banana and some of the ways the little monkeys can hang off of the banana. And wrote, Hope Your Day is Bananas in the Best Way, using the new set. And have the pennant strip here from our Slimline pennant dies. And I just ran the pennant through a second time, locking it in place on the stitching, and cut the pennant from both ends. And then here in the background, we have our scallop square dies. I can't remember if this is the small or large set. I think it's a small, but I link it in the blog. And then here in the background, I used a yellow print from our Gingham Jewel Tones paper pack. It just matched the way I had already pre-colored the bananas, so it matched well. And then in the background here, I just cut a small green mat so that little holes would peek out in a different color. For our last brand new set, we have The Graduate. Has two really nice big bold greetings. Congrats, grad, and happy graduation. And it has 3 diplomas in 3 different sizes, and 4 grad caps in 4 different sizes. And it just was designed to fit all of our different critters. I went from the very smallest to the largest, and we could make a hat work for all of them. So I love how it turns any stamp set into a graduation stamp set when needed. So can't wait to start showing you all the ideas that the team is coming up with too. But the die is also cut out the words there. So up first, I paired it with the puppies from our Puppy Dog Kisses. No, excuse me, that's not right. The dogs from our Puppy Love stamps, and then the cat from our Meowin' Forever, and then added the caps. Actually, I ended up putting caps in, I think, 3 of the 4 sizes here. Added the little hearts from the Puppy Love set, and then a little small strip of paper here from, I believe, Joyful Holiday, but could be from another holiday set, but I link that in the blog as well. The little stitch circle openings here is from our Window Trio circle dies. And I added stitching on this little strip here using the ribbon and lace border dies. Up next is one of our biggest critters wearing the largest hat here with the largest diploma. This is our Big Bunny stamps. I gave him a little Hawaiian lei here with the little flower from our Big Panda stamps. And then just added the congrats grad. Because the bunny's so large, I was able to just kind of make him or her take center stage. And added the little gingham frame here using our buffalo plaid dies together with our diagonal and straight stripe stencils, and then cut it out with our stitched rectangle dies, and then matted it with the frilly frame eyelet lace dies onto craft cardstock. Sorry, that was a mouthful. Up next, I have a college graduation card. My daughter will be graduating from UW, University of Washington, in next year. And so I thought I would just get a head start and make her card early. So she loves hedgehogs, so I used our Quill Cutie stamps, added the little smallest, what's the word? Diplomas. And then the, I think this is the second from the smallest cap. Typed out the word, or not typed, stamped out the word happy graduation using the new set. For the W, I found a W on, I found their logo basically online, and I reversed it onto my cardstock and then fussy cut it out and flipped it over to use here on the card. For the background here, I used our amazing Argyle paper pack. Thought it added to that collegiate feel, and added striped print here from the Dots and Stripes Jewel Tones. Added the little rickrack border here with our rickrack border dies, and 2 more little buttons there from our woolen mittens. I was really happy with how this came out with the golden purple color. Next up, we have a graduation card with some various undersea creatures. I used a bunch of different sets that I had a lot of these images stamped from previous cards that didn't make the cut, and I just decided to put them all together in a set. So we have critters from our Fantastic Friends. This little guy is from our See You Soon. He is from Best Fishes. I believe all 3 of these might be from Best Fishes. This little crab here is from Ocean View. And the border here is from our Tropical Scenes. And then I just stamped some of the little bubbles in the background kind of on a diagonal print to be like kind of like sequins scattered, using the bubbles from Best Fishes. Up next, we have a graduation card using all the dogs from our Puppy Parents stamps and the doghouse from Puppy Parents. And then I just scattered some of the little diplomas and put hats on all of them. And the clouds come from our Tropical Trees backdrop die. And then I just ink blended in the background, a blend where the grass kind of blends into the sky and it like a blurry bokeh. And then, or bouquet, sorry, it depends on where you're from. And yeah, I really like how this turned out. I'm falling in love with this big, bold greeting. And then for the next card, I used, for the backdrop, our Ocean View stamps. This is another background I had pre-colored for another card that I didn't end up using. And the background ends like right about there, and so it was too short for my card. So I added this little sand dune slope here using our Slimline Nature border dies. And then just, I think there's part of it right here that doesn't quite cover, and I just used the seal to cover the seam. So this is the seals from Seriously Sweet, and the little diplomas and hats. And then the rest, yeah, the greeting, of course, is from the graduate set. So next up, I must have lost my little 7. I haven't glued this down yet because I do not know if I'm going to have somebody graduate this year. So I made to 2027 just in case, so I don't shoot myself in the foot and not have a way to use this card. So I'm not gluing down the 6 until I know. But the background is the stripe from Dots and Stripes Jewel Tones. Got a lot of use out of that paper pack this release. And then the Happy Graduation, I added the clouds in the background using our, Fluffy Cloud border dies as a stencil. And then I didn't want him just kind of floating because he definitely looks like he's standing and not like floating in the air. So I wanted to give him something grounded to stand on. So I stamped this Happy Graduation greeting to kind of ground him. Added a little diploma and hat, and as you can see, I poked a little hole for each of these and ran the string through before adhering it to my card and taped the backs. And then I poked another hole when they came down. I poked a hole here and just under his hand so that the little strings could come out. And then when I was all done, I taped behind his hand on the back of the card so that none of these strings would like fall out. But I love how it makes it look realistic and kind of 3D. And then for the frame here, I cut out the icing rectangle frames. And I forgot to mention, but I cut that out first. And then I had the inside that was also white. And then I inked it up after it was already die cut so that I could use this pure white for the outside and the clouds on the inside. But that is the very last card for this release. I hope you'll come to our blog and enter our giveaways that end on Saturday. And just join me over there. Thank you so much for hanging with me today. And I hope you love this release as much as I loved creating it for you. Thanks. Bye-bye.